Hi, I'm Carolyn.
And I'm Anna.
And we're two sisters who love handcrafting and figuring things out.
Hi, it is Saturday, May 31st, 2025, and it is hot here. Hair back,
Sleeveless. We had to turn the fan off in here, so we might start sweating a little bit, but we want to limit the background noise for everybody. Mm-hmm. I like the heat. I like the heat. I like sitting outside when it's warm.
You have a high tolerance for it.
Mm-hmm,
you can see
do.
My rosy cheeks. I have a less high tolerance for it.
Particularly sitting in the shade. Like if it's hot and we're in the shade. And we're lucky we have a really huge tree in front of our house, so kind of keeps things a little shady, a little cool.
Yeah, your house feels good.
Yeah.
So hi, we live in Northern California, and we want to welcome you to episode 72.
72 has so many factors. So this episode, we're going to share some FFOs, some finishes, whips, a few plans, of course, a few meager shared supplies. We're going to get curious about, I know we never have a lot of,
Try to even out my tunic.
Okay, yeah, t-shirt. Everybody looking good. We're going to get curious about the second assignment for our sampler color exploration.
The sampler color exploration.
And then, of course, we'll end with our thumbs up.
Great, let's do it.
Let's do it. So, Anna, significant things from comments.
Let me refresh. Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. When you were talking about your Fruits of Plenty and how big the fabric is and that being a little bit hard for you, a bunch of people told you how they roll and clip in various ways or turn upside down when it makes sense.
Yeah, I do the turning upside down all the time. I love the suggestion. I had rolled before, but I had used these magnets, like strip things to close it, and they got kind of heavy. But several people said to use
the Wonder Clips.
The Wonder Clips. Such a great idea. So I haven't stitched on Fruits of Plenty since the comments in the last week. So I haven't tried it, but I think that's going to really work. I love that idea of rolling it and doing the Wonder Clips. So thank you everybody that made those suggestions. I think that's going to make a big difference for me.
Yeah, that's nice and light, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, good. So thanks. Another person's, Carolyn and I are really fond of a tile finish, which is just what we nickname. It's essentially the Vanna Pfeiffer flat fold front and not the back, so not the easel part. And we can just tilt it or put it into a stand or something. Somebody said, have you ever tried gluing cork? Because you can get cork at a fabric store to use in a bag or something like that. I'm gonna try that. I like that idea.
I love that idea. We also live in a mid-century modern house and our floors are cork. So cork is like a big material for us.
I hadn't thought of that.
I just loved that idea. So I can't wait to try that. And I hadn't thought about that. I think she said cork, people use cork like for the bottoms of like tote bags and things like that.
I think Joan's done that. So one of our crafty sisters. So you usually use felt or wool on the back of your tiles.
I often use wool.
I usually just take one layer of mat board and cover it with fabric and glue that on. Mm-hmm. So cork can be one of our next experiments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I try both of those. Yeah, it might be fun once we get. I know several people have asked about tile finishing tutorial. That might be something fun for us to kind of think about in part of the tutorial, because I think there's nothing new about the lacing side, but talking about different ways that we put on the backs, different things that we do, I think that might be good.
And maybe showing when you lace, you just have to figure out for yourself how you're going to do your corners. Mm-hmm. And I bet you the way you do it and the way I do it are a little bit different.
Because the corners are very visible. Okay, that sounds great.
Okay.
And then lastly, the just significant things is we are doing the sampler color exploration, and we've put out assignment 1. That was in the last video and on Instagram. And so we'll be talking more about that in the We're Curious. So if you're looking for assignment number 2, you just can scroll right to We're Curious.
But you want to say that idea that the commenter had?
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Yeah. Because our idea is to make a black and white copy of the photo of the finished chart, and you can look at the value difference and everything and work with color that way. And a commenter has said, well, here's another option for the color exploration. Get a monochromatic or a one color chart, and you make it more than one color.
I love that idea.
I like that.
Sorry, I missed that was in there.
Okay.
Right, and it's so easy because so often one color, but it has all different kinds of motifs and stuff.
I'm drinking a Grape Aid Spindrift, and I'm enjoying it, but I sort of had this feeling like I have, do you remember when we were kids, that big can that we would open with a can opener?
Like a Hawaiian punch.
But there was also a grape one.
Oh, yes.
I keep feeling like I might have a purple mustache.
Oh, yes.
Even though there's not very much color in a Spindrift.
I'm drinking a Spindrift. Has anybody tried this one before? It is tea with lemon. I love it. It has a kind of funky flavor.
I love it. It's funky.
So I'm not sure it's for everybody, but I love it. It's funny. I don't even put lemon in my tea. Okay.
I love lemon in my tea.
Let's think at things going on in our lives. I think the big thing for me is I taught my last class on Friday. So it was kind of pretty exciting, but also sort of a little bit bittersweet. Next week, we still have school. We have like a celebration of learning on Monday. The kids have exams on like Tuesday, Wednesday. We have a class day and graduation. So I go through the week and I still have a lot of grading and everything ahead of me. But it was the last sort of kids in the classroom teaching for that.
I can't quite believe it.
I know. It feels both good. It feels good, nostalgic, and also just the next thing.
I think your timing is just right.
Timing is good. And I'm also not leaving the school. I'm actually not fully retiring. I'm going to be working part-time in their academic technology, in our academic technology department, helping teachers learn some new software. So that's actually going to be super fun for me. And the person I'm working with, she's like, come in whenever you want, do whatever hours you want. If you need to travel, be gone for a while. So,
because Carolyn had a tech job, a programming job before she became a teacher. Some people may not know that part of you.
Yeah. So it's a great fit. So I'm super excited for that. Anything for you, Anna?
Everything just, I don't think so. Just school, end of school.
Mm-hmm. All right. Great. You want to do our toast?
Let's do their toast. All right. So one of our sisters who lives locally just ordered some baby chicks and they arrived. They came in the mail. It's just amazing to me.
I can't believe they mailed them. Although I heard a horror story. Okay, we're not going to talk about the horror story.
And she has built a little coop, and she's also figured out a way to use parts of the trampoline that her children are finished using in their backyard into helping to make a chicken run for the coop that they have. And those chicks are so cute and fluffy.
I'll have been inserting some photos here. I know.
It's a classic sound.
I haven't seen them yet in person. I've just seen photos.
They will exceed expectations. So to the chicks.
To the chicks.
And we have a fully finished object for you.
Oh, are we going right there? Okay.
Did you have more to say?
No. Nothing more. Do you believe it? I have nothing more to say.
Am I rushing us along?
Not at all.
Okay. I'm excited for you.
This is what happened when it's warm. I just kind of like slow down. All right. My first fully finished objects.
You have two fully finished objects?
I'm going to show 3 things. 2 are new and 1 is a nostalgic from the archives.
Fantastic.
This is my fully finish of This Bees Has Got Knees by Hands On Design. This is exclusive to a class. It was a class that I took at Spring Mingle, and she mentioned on her most recent FlossTube, Kathy Haberman, that she probably won't release this for a while because she's going to keep it as a class project. And you can tell, her class was so fantastic. We've talked about it before. You can tell so much time and effort went into it. Like even the finishing instructions that came with it, unbelievable. So I think she wants to run that class, understandably, a couple of times, and then it might be released. So without further ado, first of all, here's a picture of where I was last time. I had done like nothing.
And I think I said to you, are you going to be
That's
done
right.
by Memorial Day?
That's right.
You have a lot of stitching.
That's right. The last video.
You did it.
But you know what? I was just super motivated because the recording of the class was going to be up for 30 days. And so I think that kind of takes us through the end of May. And I was like, Memorial Day weekend, I'll have some extra time. I'm doing it. So I stitched that whole week on this because you can see where I was. And here it was before I started the 3D finish. So all the stitching was done and was cut out. And then here's the finish. It was
super
the bottom I absolutely love. And let me show, here's a process of in progress of finishing it up so you can kind of see how the bottom was the 4 triangle pieces coming together.
Let me put my can up to just sort of give a little scale.
Just like a hand. It's hard to imagine like how small these really are. Kathy's instructions were so good. Both her visual photos that she sent us a PDF and watching the video again, it was so doable and so fun. And I feel like, and I'm going to show in a minute, that I can take this technique and use it, as we can say in teaching, I can transfer it to a different situation. Transferable.
You really learned it then.
I really learned it. The linen is 36 count. I can't remember what it is. Anna, do you remember? Is it peacock?
I can't remember.
This is a blue linen that had some fading lines, whether they were fold lines or from the dyeing, but I was able to kind of cut around it and get a good piece for that.
I'm so glad we were able to use that.
So we were able to use it. I did my own color conversion. I just did a mixture of over-dyed cottons, stitched 1 over 2, and the stitching was a little bit bigger than I thought. Like my optimism were like, yeah, I can finish it. It's 131 by 131. I mean, the corners were cut out, but it was a lot of little thises and that's.
Right. That always takes me longer than I think.
She had some back stitching. I didn't do all the back stitching. Like I did it on the leaves because there was not a lot of contrast between my colors in the leaves. But that's about all I did. I gave the bee her knees, of course, but I didn't do the back stitching on the wings. I think my preference, I think I like a more graphic, bold. Sometimes the back stitching ends up just looking like a little fussy for me. Okay, have I shown it enough? I am going to make the pins. She also shows you how to use perforated paper and pull out some of the motifs from the design and make those pins. So that is definitely on my agenda. So this technique, I don't think it's a technique she's used. I think it's a very common one. You did a back stitch all around your piece and then you laced through the back stitch.
So you were connecting 2 back stitches?
Yes. Yes, and it was so natural for me because that's also kind of how you seam knitwear as you're going up stitches for that. And I used 1 color for my back stitch and a 2nd color for my lacing. And one thing she recommended about that, she said, if you use the same color, sometimes it can feel like a heavier line. I just tried that, and then I stuffed it with wool roving.
Can I see the 2 colors? I hadn't really noticed that even though you'd said that.
I think I tended to I stuff really aggressively when I stuff with wool, so I do think I stressed my seams a little bit, but it's fine. So, again, highly recommend if you ever have an opportunity to take a class. I'm guessing she's as fantastic in person as she was online. Kathy Haverin.
Some commenter said that, like, I've taken a class with her in person.
And the online classes are so fantastic. $35 for the pattern, the class. So I can understand her wanting to run it also multiple times. I mean,
yes. I
don't know.
think Jacob did that. Remember when he released his hem stitch pamphlet and some of us were asking, are you going to ever release that? Are you going to release that? I think he was waiting until he did a few classes with it.
Yeah, I don't, yeah. And she has, I can't wait to go explore. She has lots of finishing tutorials and on her blog, and she has other designs that are in this shape. In fact, I'm going to definitely do another one by her. So if you're at all interested in experimenting with this, on her website, I think she actually has them in a bundle because so many people are interested in them. So that's This Bee's Got Knees. Okay, so I was so into this. I'm like, I gotta keep trying this. And one thing she mentioned, she said she uses this technique when she makes like a little Christmas ornament. She just does it. She backstitches around the outside, backstitches around another piece of linen, and then puts it together. I don't know what she puts inside. So I'm like, what if we did that for a pillow?
Oh, you mentioned wanting to try that.
So I just pulled out, this is Heartstring Samplery. I got this last August at In Stitches when I went there with my sister-in-law. I just finished a family trip at the beach. And this is called her Festive Little Fobs Seaside Edition. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in a minute, but I'm going to show you this. So I'm going to just stitch that little crab. I like to eat crabs. It felt a little bad. And then I'm going to finish it as a pillow.
Oh my gosh, I just got a glimpse of it. That's so cute.
I can see it. Hopefully it's going to focus. There it goes. Put a little cue on there for me. Oh, actually, go behind me again because I think
how was the finishing?
Okay, it was so fantastic. And then on the back, I just put a little fish. So I
must hold it.
Yes. I did the same thing. I backstitched all the way around it in the lighter pink. And then I just picked a little scrap of linen I had around and it ended up being 40 count. So it was a little harder to get in there because the backstitch was closer to the linen color and was smaller.
This is so cute.
It was so fun and so easy and doable. I did, she had us trim our seams 1/2 inch on this. I trimmed my seams 3/8 of an inch on here, but next time I'm going to do a 1/4 and I'm going to take a little bit more off the corners themselves because
the corners look good.
But there was you can see they bulge a little bit. I'm going to try to narrow that down.
Okay.
But this, oh my gosh.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now I want you to teach me.
Oh yeah, that's useful. Nailed it. Okay.
I'm going to hide because then I'm yawning. I'm like, I've been going all day and now I'm sitting down and I'm starting to yawn. I'm happy to be here.
I'm going to not be able to stop these because I start thinking like, they're so quick. Like you can imagine the stitching is fun and quick. The finishing, it probably did take me an hour by the time I stitched around, and I've stuffed it with wool too. And I'm a really slow wool stuffer. I just do a little bit at a time. But can you imagine like you go over to someone's house and you just tuck this someplace and leave it as a little surprise? Mm-hmm. Or I was even thinking they're so small, like I was just
calling card.
It's just a little
Carolyn
calling card. Or like I had some little frames with some like pictures of my granddaughters, but I'm like, what if you stitched a little one and just kind of set it in the frame next to them? I see so much potential. I could see them as little retreat gifts. So fun. Such a great technique. Now I want to try it on a larger pillow.
Yes.
And I think too, this one, especially on 40 count, I was just going over 2 stitches. There's no reason why you can't like go over 3 or go over 4. Like I don't think it needs to be this tiny. It might depend on what you're stuffing it with.
What's not doesn't need to be that tiny?
The running stitches.
Okay.
The running for those.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you meant your X's.
And then I thought it was fun, like pull out whatever motifs, take them from a sampler, take them from a sampler book. Whatever you want to do. Yeah. We'll see later on how focused that was. All right, you've seen it enough. You get the idea. Beth Twist, Heartstring Samplers, wrote a little thing on the back of this, and I'm just going to quickly paraphrase. She started designing, and she has a whole Festive of Little Fobs series. She did 12 of them, and I'll put a link.
Whoa, 12.
You know what happened? Her hard drive crashed, and all of her work and designs were gone. I was at a complete loss for what to do if I had to recreate months worth of charts that I had in queue for the 2018. So she sat down and she just started small. And she just decided, I'm going to do one of these a month. And that's what I'm going to do, I think, for 2018. There will be 12 total, one for each month of 2018. Some will be seasonal and the rest will just be themes. So then I went and looked and I'm like, these are so fun because she does lots of different things on them. But again, you can take your motifs, and her idea is take them, rearrange them, do whatever you want with them. So if you're looking for sources for small things, I thought that was really cute. Okay.
When I learned to cross stitch when I was a teenager, or 11, 12 or whatever, I loved this size thing. Because it was sort of, you feel like you've done something.
So I'm calling this my Festive Little Crab. Then it just also reminded me, whenever, and I'm sure this happens to everybody, you kind of get locked in on something like, I'm like, oh, this cool technique, let me try it myself. And then all of a sudden you see it everywhere. And so about the same time, Evertote, Roxy Floss, and Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery, they have their collaboration called, what is it called? The Quintessential Frisian Smalls. And I'm going to put a photo up right here. And if you haven't heard about this, zip over to Modern Folk Embroidery or Evertotes and they'll talk more about it. But it's going to be a stitch along starting in August where we're going to make one small a month. And it's not only stitching the small, but we're going to learn finishing techniques. And a lot of the finishing techniques look like variations on this backstitch lacing technique. So I'm so excited to keep learning that. And the first one looks like it's a little pillow.
Yeah.
And Anna and I both ordered the box. It's fantastic. You can participate by buying the pattern and supplying all your supplies, or you can buy the box with things.
I think it went something like this. I texted Carolyn, have you seen this yet, with a picture? And then like her next text was like, ordered.
I hadn't seen it. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, no question asked, I'm getting that. It was hard to pick. You could pick from 3 different floss colors. So I picked Great Lakes, which was a blue.
I love that color. Mm-hmm. I picked the fallow red. Mm-hmm. In the end, I was really torn.
Yeah, I might end up using different colors for the different projects.
We could even share our 2 colors.
We could. Nice. Okay, so that's that.
Very nice.
And then the last FFO, I'm calling it from the archives. Last episode, Anna was showing us her Quaker Christmas sampler, which is really by Kathy Barrick, really long and skinny, and talking about different ways to finish it. And I was like, oh, I did this needlepoint once that was finished as a bell pull. And I just wanted to show it.
Yeah, this is exactly what I want to do. So now I got to figure out how to do it.
But the interesting thing, I was looking at it. So there's something, I feel the stiffness, but I'm thinking it's probably the needlepoint canvas. And then definitely there's batting in here. And then this is like a silk, but it's just hem stitched down to the back. You can actually see, I didn't finish it.
So no turning corners, just a rectangle the same size or a little smaller and then whip.
Yep, and then that's also what's forming the space for the hanger to go through. Yeah, so I'm guessing, and probably needlepoint canvas has enough structure for that. It's just probably turned under and then this is stitched. But you could put some interfacing on the back. But I think you could even do it like, put some batting in there. And
maybe
then
even a piece of cardboard.
Yeah, maybe mat board with the... But I thought it was...
Show you the tassel too with the leftover threads.
Then the finisher made this tassel with all the leftover threads, and it is so thick and juicy. And I'm not really a tassel person, but I love it. I love this finish.
You're going to be making some tassels with your quintessential Frisian smalls.
I just might. Okay, so that's FFO from the archives.
Great.
Okay, let's go to finished objects.
All right, I couldn't decide whether to put this in finished objects or fully finished objects because it's halfway fully finished.
Oh!
So this is Blackwater Blooms from Needlemade Designs. So this is one of the charts I picked when Carolyn and I were lucky enough to go to the attic a year ago in the spring. And this pattern just, the minute I saw it, I'm like, I'm doing that. So I'm going to make this into a tile. And so I've done the lacing part.
Oh, Anna, nice.
Now, all along I knew, will you hold that for please?
Yes.
I knew that I was going to skip the handles. There's something about them. I'm sure they're there for balance. I just prefer it without them. So it's a teeny tiny little vase with lots of big flowers, but I'm liking the way it looks. So I'm going to cover this piece of mat board that's cut maybe a 1/16 of an inch less on each dimension.
Hope you don't mind I'm showing your back, your lacing back.
Oh, not at all. These were something like this sprang to mind to me. So something sort of kind of old-fashioned-y.
Oh, I like that one. I like this one.
This one? Okay.
And so you'll put the fabric on that. Did you make it the same size or do you make it slightly smaller? You made
Very
the same.
slightly smaller. Okay. Well, a 1/16 of an inch in each.
Yeah, and then that will go on the back.
Right. I still wonder if I'm lacing too tightly because I feel like that's warping a little bit. It's bending. And I'm trying to avoid that, but I don't know.
Did you wet block it?
Yes. And I have a picture of it being wet blocked because we've mentioned it before, but Carolyn and I decide what margin I want around the edge, and I actually do a running stitch. For this, it's a 1/4 inch, and you might be able to see it. It's like a light blue color.
Oh, do you leave yours in?
I leave I'm about to take them out, but it really helps when I'm lacing to get that running stitch on the edge and at the corners to be able to have the 2 running stitches meet. because you can of course use the linen grain to help make sure that your lacing is squaring up, but I just really like those guidelines.
I agree. Yours is so light, I often use like a dark one.
I tend to use a light thread because I never want it to leave a residue or noticeable. But it is a little hard to see.
And did you mention this is on 56 count?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah,
I should tell you.
Give your details.
It's 56 count maple bar by Cedar River Linen and Design. And I use Swasserfine 2671, which is a slightly lighter black. There's a darker black. 1/2. And the stitch count is 144 high by 93 wide.
Unbelievable. It's now 143 high. And look how...
I had no idea I was going to pull this from the whip drawer, but as I was working on From Velvet to Linen, which I'll show you in whips, it just popped in my head. They sort of have the same vibe to me.
Yes.
And I thought, well,
we're very kind of gray black. Oh, you're blue.
Gray blue. All right, so I want to play Name That Flower. The designer calls this a tulip.
Okay, I would say that daffodil.
These are daffodils, I think. I'm a little stuck on the next one down. What do you think those are?
Honeysuckle?
Okay.
I don't know.
So commenters, I feel like the very bottom one might be freesia.
Oh, good call. Good call.
Stamen are sticking out.
Really nice. Anna, this would look really pretty, like once you finish linen to velvet, velvet to linen, have them, it's kind of propped, because that one's going to be this explosion of color, and then this is kind of...
And there is some black in it. So yes, Carolyn and I saw this display of a clear lucite shelf with a little lip, and there was just a bunch of needlework propped up on the shelf against the wall with layers of needlework, and I just can't get that out of my head. I'm trying that. And have a place in one of our bedrooms where I think will be good.
So this won't have, this will just be sitting down. It won't be in a stand or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it goes in a stand, I was playing with it.
You're going to lose that, right?
But you know those little black stands that our tiles are on? Let me get ready to get it.
Okay.
It's like a $30 stand, but...
Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah. It's like an easel, like a artist easel. Oh yeah, Anna, that looks great. Oh, that's fantastic.
So this is the Matawi tile. Again, this is another Arizona purchase.
We got that at Taliesin West. Oh yeah, Anna, that looks nice.
Yeah, doesn't that look nice?
Really nice.
So then I think, like, do I even need to put on a back?
I would, because I think from the behind, and I think there's something really pleasant if you ever pick it up. It's like a surprise of having something on the back. And I think it is good to protect your lacing. Okay, so yes, I think you should. Good, Anna. Okay, that is almost essentially an FFO. Go home and finish that today.
I might.
Yeah.
Blackwater.
Didn't you have MKs and did it take you forever to do the back of that?
Yeah, okay. That's done and delivered.
Anna, by the next floss tube, you have to have that FFO'd completely. Okay.
Probably. I'm making no promises. End of school and visitors arriving.
Going now into our whips.
Wait, do you only have...
I only have one whip.
Okay.
Because
that was a
lot.
You said this was like on 3 things.
This was pretty much a week of stitching and then FFOing. And then my other whip, and the other thing is so cute. Look at it, just stacked.
That does look cute. Your grand girls might think of something.
Or no, like just putting it in your pocket. Like, do you ever sometimes just like to have a little something in your pocket, and you're just like, oh, this makes me happy. I'm gonna put my little crab.
Just sit in your stitching tray. It's cute. It's really cute. My first whip is the one I just referred to, From Velvet to Linen by Kathy Barrick.
It really does have reminiscence of that. Blackwater blooms.
Yeah. And I restarted this because I had started on 36 count and I wanted to stitch it on something with a little bit more density. I love 36 count, but for this particular thing, I got the MPIs from Hillside Rookery, and I'm using the tag Olivia includes on my little project bag. And I do keep my MPIs in little bags. And I got this at this bag at in Portland at a little craft fair.
I love that fabric.
Frankie and Coco, I think is what it
Oh,
says.
cute.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And
so you're just keeping your silk in there. Yeah.
There we go.
Like eyeballs.
This is where I am. It's been fun. I've been doing a little, like a petal of a flower and then blue stripe.
And this is also on Maple Bar, isn't it? So your
you're right.
Blackwater
You're right.
blooms is on
Yes.
the same linen.
Yes.
Different counts.
I have to say that this flower, it's this one, is really taking me a lot of concentration because I would not exactly call what I nickname mosaic stitching, where you have these splotches. It's more like squiggle stitching, like a little here, a little there. And I'm just finding a hard time keeping track of things. So what I took a picture of just that, the chart of just that flower on my phone.
Yeah.
And then I am using the highlighter tool in Photos.
Yeah.
And highlighting it as I go. And that's working pretty well for me.
Are you highlighting what you need to stitch, or are you highlighting what you have stitched?
What I have stitched.
Excuse me, I'm burping. Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch recently did a fantastic tutorial on Markup RX, which is the markup program on an iPad, or I guess you probably do it on your phone. But one thing it does is when you put it in, you can say, like, let's say it's the medium pink. It will just highlight only those stitches.
That would be so helpful.
So then you can sort of really follow the traveling of those.
Because that is how I stitch. I have not been interested in experimenting just because I don't have an iPad. And I thought, like, I don't know how I would use that.
I wonder.
And the phone is pretty small. Like it's a little bit hard for me to use my fingertip to highlight. Anyway, it is helping me.
Yeah, my thing is it looks interesting. I think I want to experiment with it, but I often, when I watch FlossTube, I watch it on my iPad. So I'm like double duty.
Yeah. I often, you literally use a highlighter on my working copy of the pattern, but it's funny, this flower happens to be where there's a lot of tape. And the highlighter is not exactly drying, and I'm like, I'm gonna get a purple splotch on my fabric.
Yeah. Will you pass me your Blackwater blooms? No, the actual thing. I'm just thinking.
No.
No, that's not what I want. I'm just thinking about
I'd forgotten they're on the same linen.
You can tell the 56 is a lot lighter. Not as much modeling on it. Pretty, Anna, but yeah, like even the very subtle details on this.
Now, like as I said, in this particular chart, I wanted it to be dense. And I've been stitching a lot on 40 recently. I'm really interested in revisiting legacy. Like I'm wondering if 37, 38 is actually my sweet spot. Because I do feel like this is pretty packed.
Yeah, especially when using a cotton on that.
So there we go.
Nice, Anna.
I'll be working on that for a while.
My active whip that I've worked on then after finishing the Bees Got Knees is, of course, my Bun Bun. This will probably just stay out. I will probably finish her. Here's where I was last time. And then here's where I am now. Oops.
Got your center flowers going.
All right. Yeah. So I've made all my decisions now on the colors of the flowers that go around the border and the colors of the interior flowers. Our lighting's a little harder today, I think. So I'm very happy with my color choices. My flowers on the outside are using, I'm missing one color.
Is this color repeated?
Which color?
This and this?
Yes.
Something on the inside and the
Yep.
outside?
Yep. Okay, so, all right. These two are used when the tulip is completely surrounded by the background color. And for the ones on the flower, the same bright and then this pale yellow are used. And then the interior flowers use the pale yellow, the paler pink, an orange, and a cream. So those are the colors of the interior flowers. So
Beautiful.
I'm really happy with my choice. And then it always feels good because you're like playing around, experimenting, and then you're like, I've got it. And again, I mean, Gigi's charts, it really has 3 things going on. You have your realistic bunny. You have this very kind of prim and proper, symmetrical, geometric border. And then you have this totally whimsical explosion
Splash
of
of flowers.
design. Yeah, and the flowers, I outlined them all first. So now it's just filling them in concentrically.
You're going to be finished with this in no time.
Yeah, I've done, there's not a lot to do. And interesting, my pale yellow, I put the other one away. I had one that was slightly less bright. And I changed it to something, and when you looked at the two, you almost couldn't see a difference. But I felt like it made such a big difference. I even ripped out what I had done before and replaced it for this. All right, Anna, here's my last conundrum. Do you see how you can't really see the stem? I overstitched it with green on that one. Is it worth doing?
Yes.
Okay, I'm showing Anna. These flowers, their stem is done in that maroon, and you can't really see it. So this one I just overstitched in green. So I think I was asking her if it was worth doing, and she said yes. So I will. Did you hear that conversation we just had?
Yes, I prefer it. I don't know if that would have bothered me, but now that you have that one in, it's nice to see the stem.
And I realize sometimes you just overstitch something, and I didn't want to take it out because I had been doing this long path and it would have been...
Right, who knows what you would have clipped.
Exactly. So I'm just going to overstitch. All right, so now that the colors are picked, there's not a lot of thinking, it's just a lot of stitching. I have to say, I've been using these little, I think they're drawer organizers from the Container Store. I'm finding in some ways I like them better to hold all my floss than a ring. Particularly when I'm sort of deciding which colors. I kept kind of having a bucket of like maybes, yes, and then they're just easy. I like this.
Great.
All right, Bun Bun by the Artsy House. Oh, I didn't give many details, sorry. Let me scroll down. All right, Artsy Housewife, as we know, is the designer. This is on 36 count jalapeno by Fiber on a Whim. And the thread is a mixture of called for. The DMCs for Bun Bun are called for. And then I made my own conversion for the rest of it with over-dyed cottons, a lot of Roxy floss. And it's 121 by 121. Wait, wasn't your Blackwater like 143?
I thought it was 130 something.
Okay, it's 144.
Oh, you're right,
Okay, so let's just compare. What did I say? This is 131. So just 50,
I know, it's small. I love it. I have to say, I should have said this when I was talking about this. When I pulled it out, and I use a big magnifier light. My first 10 stitches, I even had the thought of like, wait, have my eyes changed? This feels hard. And then I adjusted and I was off and running.
Oh.
So there's an adjustment when I switched to 56.
I mean, I think people do say even going like 36 to 40, it takes a little time to adjust for that.
So I want to remember that because I had a little bit of like, because
Can I still do this? Because I like it a lot.
Okay, good, Carolyn.
Yeah.
My next one is a new start. It's the Folk Bird Needle Book by Not Forgotten Farm. I have to say, when I started stitching again during the pandemic, this was a design that I saw somewhere. I was like, I love that. I love that. And I didn't know what it was.
Oh my gosh.
I've always wanted to stitch it. And
it's kind of like a funky robin.
And I am going to make it into a little book, I think. And this is what I have going on so far. The bottom part with the needles being spelled with negative space has been really, really fun.
I'm going to try to show it again without this.
Yeah. These are the 3 colors so far. There's a few more, but they're just on different Not Forgotten Farm project rings. I haven't pulled them yet.
Yeah, because her colors are very simpatico, aren't they?
Yes.
She definitely has her palette.
This is 40 count parchment by Weeks Dye Works, called for DMC. It's a 71 by 71 design. And this is the second chart of Not Forgotten Farm this year that I've been stitching where I'm like, I totally want to see what Lori's vision was. And then I have this urge to try it again in a different color palette.
Yes, I love that idea.
We'll see if that happens. With that little tiny one with the peacock that I showed a couple of times ago?
Yes.
I had the same feeling for that one.
Because it is, is there something in the birds? Is the bird holding
a needle with thread?
Oh, I thought it was holding a worm.
That would be good too.
Yes, I would love to see this and stitched. And I like how what do they call them? Pennies, or the bunting around the edging is not symmetrical.
That's a lot of her stuff
is
not symmetrical. Like even 2 of these E's, one of them has a little bit longer bottom leg than the other. That is one of the consistent things in her charts that I really, really like. And it's a good reminder to us when we make a mistake and we want to take it back.
Oh,
like I actually like the feeling of not quite symmetrical. Now I might use, this is a little 9 patch that I made when I was messing around with Baby R's quilt, which I have not made yet. Like there's a piece of me that wants to combine these 2 things. Like that would be on the back. Da 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 da.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think it's an interesting idea. I think I would love to see you restitch it in these colors
with the brighter colors.
With the brighter colors, because I could see this is sort of reading like the pennies around the edging.
Yeah, although I could still, after just saying I want to do it Lori's way, and then a second, I still could put turquoise in there.
Cool. What made you want to start that?
I think because I'm working on Fronica Beeler and I didn't touch it in the last couple of weeks. It's a larger sampler. I just had the urge to get like a little small going, and I had a few nights where I didn't want to do like the kind of stitching you need to think, and this was just perfect.
I know, it's nice. Because I can see that velvet to linen is a lot of thinking and brain space on that. It's not a trivial like sit down and stitch.
Right. The stripes are pretty easy.
Oh yeah,
so I was doing a couple flower petals, a stripe.
And did you get down to that?
Yes. So that bright blue. So we want to talk a little bit about plans?
Let's talk a little bit about plans, yeah.
I'm going to get back to my Christmas Quaker Christmas sampler. I didn't do any of I didn't touch it in the last couple of weeks. And there's a new assignment from Annie, XO Needle in the Hay XO, who's running the SAL. So I would like to do that. And then we are going to have some visitors and full house. And so I was thinking, well, what can I do without my magnifier? I might pull out Felicidades y Recuerdos, which is the design I'm doing on perforated paper. And I'm very close. I only have like this much on Baby R's knitted baby blanket, so I can finish that when they're visiting.
Oh, that's nice. And then still mail it home for them.
Oh, definitely. I'm not having them put that in the suitcase. Carolyn, what are you going to plan?
All right, so I'm going to start very soon Wall Flowers by the Scarlet Letter. This is one of her new the Scarlet House. This is one of her new designs from the spring, and it came out when her Black Swan pin keep came out. We'll talk about that in a minute. And this really attracted me. It felt very springy and very flowery. So I've been building up my color palette. Some of it is just from colors I'm using on Bun Bun or other things.
And some of those flowers are geometric, like you were just saying.
So this is sort of where my palette is going right now. Actually put a hole in it. So I've got some purples and different greens. And then I'm going to be using these 2 pinks. Those came from Bun Bun. I'm going to throw in maybe a dark purple if I need to, and a gold accent here and there.
I think our colors are reading a little dark today.
We over here is our kitchen and kitchen windows, but because it's so hot, the windows go all the way up to the roof, but I have the blinds all the way down to keep it cool in here. I think that's why things are looking a little dark. And I'm going to be stitching this on
Pamplemousse.
It's Pamplemousse.
I love that color so much.
This was fun looking at we have so many great linens, Anna. I was pulling them all out.
Wait, can I see? Pop them on.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah, that's so pretty.
I've wanted to start this ever since I got the pattern maybe a couple weeks ago, but I'm like, no, I wanted to finish the bee's knees. I'm using some of the colors from Bun Bun. I wanted to feel like Bun Bun was all decided for that. And so now I'm like, yes, it's time. Okay.
That's a fun end of school.
And then keep going on bun buns. And I'm sure other things are going to get me going along the way too.
Next video, you'll be like, I have 12.
Spread out all around Palo Alto. I've left them at different people's house. I actually just love that idea. Like, I'm gonna definitely do one for like maybe Lynn, who got the chickens. Like, just do a tiny little chicken and just put this like someplace in her house. See how long it takes her to find it. Don't tell Lynn, okay? All right, that's it. Should we do a little? We're curious. Do we want to do our shared supplies before we get into this, or do those after?
Sure. You want to jump to that?
Yeah, and then we'll come back to we're curious.
I ordered a small order from Lindy Stitches. I've been looking at a lot of patriotic, and I really like things that have Quaker motifs or Pennsylvania German motifs. And so this Patriotic Quaker 1776 by Annie Turner, the proper stitcher, really caught my eye. And I went ahead and got the threads. And then I got Carolyn a gift.
Thank you. Okay, wait. I like that. Okay, I can tell from the back that it's an Artsy house. Oh, thank you so much.
Did you order it already?
No.
I was like, you're moving along on bun.
Flora. This is my next one. I still have there's a bird. What was the name of the bird? I started it last fall. I put it away when I did lit. But I'm going to start this before I finish that one. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Anna, thank you so much.
Sure.
And it uses Roxy floss. I'm going to go ahead and order those. I think I'm going to stitch it in those colors.
I love that one. I might stitch it too at some point.
Fantastic. Thank you, Anna. I love it. Mm-hmm. All right. Mine, I got the wall. We've seen everything I ordered. And I just want to say, I just feel super grateful with our floss and linen stash. It was fun. I was picking out my colors for the wallflowers, looking at linens, and we're doing the color exploration. And we just have such great supplies.
I was surprised how many options there were when I was picking colors for the color exploration.
And I'm feeling like, we have enough that we can really use it. And I feel like we are using it. It was just fun, just pulling everything out. But it's not too much like we can get all our floss out.
You're using it way more than I am, and I know it's partly because it's at your house, even though I can pop in here anytime.
But it's different.
And I think you're just, you have a greater desire to switch up colors than I do.
I do. Or it just feels more natural. It feels natural. All right, so now let's get curious. We're going to talk some more about the sampler color exploration. We're going to quickly recap last video, and in the Instagram and our stories, I have a highlight that you can go back to look at this, but we did assignment number 1. So you can find the details there, but essentially assignment number 1 was to pick the sampler of your choice, to get a black and white photo or copy of whatever image you're going to use, maybe it's the cover, and then put the color image away and don't look at it again. And then if you're so inclined, post on Instagram, and our hashtag is #TheSamplerColorExploration. And please tag us, because I think sometimes the hashtags, we don't always see everything, but we see it for sure if you tag us.
And a few people have already posted to the hashtag, so it's going.
It's going. So that's the recap of assignment 1. Start at any point. Like if you haven't done your assignment 1, but you found this interesting, we don't need to be all doing it at the same time. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to tell you about assignment 2. And assignment 2 is going to be picking I'm calling it your prototype palette. And I'm calling it your prototype palette because whatever we pick, I'm sure it will change along the way once you get stitching. So don't be completely enamored by your palette. Be prepared to change it, because if we love things too much, it's harder to change along the way. All right, so we thought we'd just walk through our patterns and our process of picking our colors. And then we have a little advice at the end, and then that's our assignment.
Great.
All right, do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Either way.
Okay, why don't you go first?
All right. I am doing the Golden Finch by Lottie Da. I'm showing you the chart itself because this is a freebie on Lottie Da's website. And I really like to bird, and we have American goldfinch around here. So I wanted to reference the actual colors of an American goldfinch, and I pulled some up, and they vary. I mean, I think of bright yellow immediately, but a non-breeding male has sort of like a yellow-green color.
Yeah, that was surprising.
So I was looking at a couple of different photos, and I also wanted to use one of our new Roxy Flossco linen, and I have decided with Coco Loco. So very deep brown. And when I started pulling colors, Carolyn was doing something else. And I was like, okay, I have some thinking. Oh yeah, that's right, you were doing that. And I had so many colors. I said 20, maybe it was 30 or 40.
It was so, Anna comes to me and it's like, because I was like stitching, or I think I was probably stitching this because I wanted to finish the stitching. And Anna was going through the colors. She goes, my palette.
No, you had started the finishing, but anyway, yeah.
Okay.
I share that because, well, Carolyn is a color expert, but also you just might need a friend. You might need someone to talk with.
I'm going to put that down as advice. Yeah.
So.
And your friend can be an online friend, or like just put it out, like even using the hashtag and putting it out there and being, what do people think of this palette, or what would you add? What would you change? Okay.
We have a cluster of yellow and yellow-green, and some goldfinch have even like a taupey color in them. I have a black and white. There's black and white wings. I'm not sure I'm going to use this, but if something is completely enclosed, I could see maybe trying to get that in. This was a color that we thought about because one of my dilemmas was, how do I show a dark leg of a bird or a branch on this color linen? And some of the bird's legs were actually this color. And this maybe will work for the branch, or maybe I don't know, do something like that. There are a few flowers, and there's an alphabet. So I also have some of these contrasting colors. So the way this is organized,
you kind of thought like colors for the bird body, colors for the bird body,
and then
colors for the alphabet.
And are there some flowers too?
Yep, there's some flowers on the border around it.
Right. So I do, just like Carolyn said, it's maybe, I mean, you used the word prototype. I sort of thinking this is my starting point. I'll probably start with the bird itself and see if I can get those yellow, greeny, goldy kind of colors going.
Yeah. And I think sometimes when in doubt, have more colors in your palette than you might use, because you might be surprised. You might think, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, but maybe let me try this other one instead.
Yeah, I've learned that from watching you and your little buckets. And it was really interesting too, because I was working here on Carolyn's table, and then she had a table set up outside too, and she's like, let's just bring the colors outside. And some of the colors immediately were like, oh my gosh, that's like way too purple when we saw it in natural light.
I know, especially some of the neutrals, we could see the underlying color so much more. I mean, you probably typically see stitching more on inside lighting, but it's still nice to look at the real thing.
We were both surprised. So I got my starting point.
Okay.
Very excited about how this is all going to look on this Coco Loco.
All right. So you
have
your
Carolyn.
palette. All right. So my chosen was the Black Swan Pin Keep by the Scarlet House. And it was only today when I was looking at the actual pattern that I realized this little motif here, it's in two places, it's over one. So warning out there, you could easily, like I'm going to decide when I get there, if I decide not to do over one, I'll just put it like maybe a variation on that motif or do something different there. Okay, that's what it was. So I built my palette a little bit differently. What I did was I had so much fun, see it again, stitching this little thing, that I started with those colors in my palette. So I have the two reds, a light and a dark, and this turquoise blue.
Did you have a feeling like I'm not done with you yet, or I know that you work? Or...
yeah, I just really like them. This, one of them I'm using in Bun Bun. And I initially went and picked these because I thought this looked like a crab and this like water. And then when I brought it to my stitching chair, I'm like, oh, that goes so nice with Bun Bun's color. So I just like those together. And then I thought, okay, now I was then inspired by colors I have been using recently in Bun Bun or my Bee's Knees. And so from those palettes, I pulled out 2 greens,
pretty,
and a dark purple. I might be using a slightly different dark purple, but for illustrations. And I had those. And then I thought, okay, I need some neutrals. In fact, maybe you can hold this up as a background. Neutrals. So I just picked.
So you're going to use this for this piece as well?
A taupe and a brown that I thought looked nice with those. And then the very last thing as I was building my palette is like, there are a few places where there's some very, very light value. So I picked a very light blue playing off the turquoise and this is khaki mocha, sort of a little bit of a creamier white that I think would still show up.
That's really pretty.
Yeah, I like snowballs, like a bright white, but it was too bright for this.
I think this has flecks of khaki in it.
Oh, okay, and that brings it down. So then once I kind of have this, I just kind of started evaluating my palette. I started to think, like, do I have enough value change? Like, do I have lights? Do I have darks? Do I have mediums? And I felt like I did. And then I also started positioning some colors around, like this turquoise. I'm going to use that sort of as a pop, but it's going to be my border that goes all the way around. And part of that was I really liked it as the border on this piece.
I like that in quilts too. I like a dark border.
But it's going to have a nice pure color to it. And then I was thinking about my pond and the water and the swan. And I was thinking about how would these colors look? My neutral brown, my blue, and then a dark purple for the swan. And then I'm like, oh, I like those colors together. So I sort of started playing with the colors, thinking what might be next to each other to see how I like them. So that's kind of, and I'm like, okay, this feels like a prototype enough to get going and see how it goes. And then my last step was to pick my linen. So once I had my colors.
I think you might be using that because this is still your pamplemousse.
Oh, that's my pamplemousse? Oh, yeah. Let's actually look at the colors. I'm using Maple Bar by Cedar River linen. You tell me like it.
I think we like it, yeah.
I think these will look better on that, actually. Oh my gosh, how do people do this so successfully, showing?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, a lot of people say just what you're saying. I think it's just hard and awkward, and it's all fine.
So I'll show these to Anna.
Very pretty.
Oh, so that was really, really, really fun.
I enjoyed the freedom of not thinking like, is this cotton? Is this silk? We had we organized the floss by color instead of by maker or manufacturer. And I realized how like I feel free, but I actually think I'm pretty careful and rule followy.
And so, do you have a mixture of silks? Do you have some silks?
I'm pretty sure. I haven't even really looked. I have some MPIs,
some Roxy,
some Classic Colorworks, some Roxy Floss. So yeah, some MPI, so no variegated silk.
Yeah, I'm a lot of Roxy with some Classic Colorworks for that. Okay, so here is assignment number 2. Once you have your pattern, you have your black and white, you are going to do your prototype palette. So a couple things to think about while you're going with this. And I thought Anna and I approached it differently, which I think is really great. Do you want to start with your linen, like Anna? Do you want to start with your floss, like me? Either way works. How do you get ideas for your prototype palette? A couple ideas were start with a few colors you liked. That's how I started. I had a couple, I'm like, oh, let me build around that.
Even the ones you've used recently or using presently.
Right. Or like Anna, grab just lots of color and a range of values and then start to winnow away for that. Reuse a palette from another project. Maybe you just finished a project or you had one that you really like the colors. There's no reason why you can't use that palette because you'll be using it in a different way. Or another thing I thought about was get inspired by color palettes that are out there. I'm going to put a link here, Pantone, the Pantone colors. They have a great little section of different articles and different color palettes themselves. So even looking at those and thinking like, oh, does this inspire me? Does this get me going? So some ideas of those. And then ideas for evaluating your palette is think about like, is there enough change in value? And when we're talking about value, we're talking about it, is it a light color, a medium color, or a dark color? And if it's hard for your eye to see it, lay your flosses out and take a black and white a photo and make it black and white. And see if you can see, you want something from light and a medium and a dark, if you can for that. The other test, and I did this a lot with quilting, is look at your palette, and if you take a color away, do you miss it?
I like playing that game.
So like even I'm going to put this palette up and I might be like, oh, if I took, do I really need this light pink? Like if I took it away, do I miss it? And sometimes you might be surprised. You're like, oh, actually, no, I don't. Maybe I don't really need this. Or if I, for example, took away this bright red, I might go, do I miss it? I'd be like, oh yeah, I really missed. There was something about that color I liked. So that's kind of a good thing if you're undecided. Remove it, even like walk away from your palette, come back and be like, oh, do I care that it's not there? So that's a good test. The other thing is, do you have neutrals? Because neutrals give any design a place for your eye to rest. You do. This is very neutral. And a neutral doesn't mean it doesn't have color. Like obvious neutrals, like this. But I consider like this can also read a little like a neutral. But you don't, unless there's an effect you're going for, you don't just want like everything a bold color, because then there's no place for your eye to rest. And then lastly, think about, do you have a little pop of color or something that's unusual in your palette? And that might be something that you're going to move your eye around. So just a few things to think about. Any other things you want to?
Speaking of pop of color, I had like a sort of an orangey color in here originally. And I wonder if my bird starts looking too flat, I'm going to reach for that orange.
Yep. Okay, then I was just going to end with some advice because I'm a teacher. Don't be afraid of color. Like anything, it takes practice and mistakes to figure out like the secrets behind it.
And that's why we're using small patterns. And
right. What's the worst going to happen?
Things we already have.
Meh. But that's going to teach you a lot. So don't be intimidated. Don't be afraid. Just try something. Next, remember, this is your prototype palette. It never needs to be perfect. It's like your starting point, as Anna said.
Will it ever be? Expect it not to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Parts of it.
Yeah. And then along the way, be open to changing. Like even once you start stitching, it's fine at any point to be like, that red's medium. I'm going to keep it, but maybe I'm going to change to something different. And you don't necessarily have to rip out to change. Or if you run out of something like those girls back in the day, who knows? They may have just been like, I'm done with this. I'm going to pick up something else. And then finally, have fun. This is really for us just to all have fun, play with our supplies that we have. And please, if you are so inclined, share your progress on Instagram, the sampler color exploration, and tag us.
I just had an idea. If we have time,
yeah,
because we're doing a little tag teaming this summer, as we finish these little pieces, might be a really nice time to do something with tiles, because they would make great tiles.
They would make great tiles. That's a really good idea.
We may not be framing our first color exploration.
Yeah, right. And think of it as like a study. Like I think a lot of people in crafts, like, let's just study. It never has to go on your wall. It can always just go in your drawer, but we're all gonna learn something from doing it. And I think the more the share, like it was just really interesting how Anna and I came about it like so differently. So many different ways to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I really use like the nature as inspiration.
Right.
So that's another thing to do. And you might have some photographs of
things. Great idea. That's right, because Anna had her photos of the birds that she had. Yeah. Okay. All right, everybody, have fun. I hope if you're so inclined, please participate and please tag us. We'd love to see what you're doing. Or in the comments, give us an update.
Yes.
All right, assignment 2, done.
On to thumbs up. My 3 things this time are the evening cool, because like we said, we have a little cluster of hot days and no air conditioning, but it cools down a lot after dinner, and that the house I wonder how much the temperature swing is in our house. A lot.
It could be like 30 degrees, I bet. 20,
now,
20.
At the end of the summer, I'm going to tell you, on the East Coast, I love that the evenings stay warm. So I like them both. The other thing I have on my thumbs up, the second thing, is just what I'm calling the buzz of little ones. So our grandchildren are getting old enough and they're starting to play with each other, and they just have this way of just kind of like coming in and starting to play, and I just like the energy so much.
They're so comfortable in everybody's house. My husband just turned 65 and we had a party over here, and Anna's granddaughter and our 2 granddaughters, and they just take over the house. They're super comfortable playing together. They have their little kids' table. Very fun.
And then my third thing is sweet strawberries. We're lucky enough to get strawberries all year round here where we live, but there's something about the May and June strawberries that are just exceptionally sweet. They're like candy.
They're like candy. Good.
Carolyn, your thumbs up?
All right, my first thumbs up, kind of like Anna's cool evenings. I'm like warm weather and being outside. I love being outside in the warm weather. And I have a photo here today. I was playing with my colors, and I had my table just set up outside on our little patio. And it's just so great to be outside. So thumbs up. The other thumbs up, I'm gonna put a photo here. We have a rose bush in our yard that has to be at least 45 or 50 years, because we've lived in this house now 35 years, and it was well established when we moved in. And I am not a gardener. Our yard is a bunch of dirt, but this rose bush is glorious, and every year it's just a highlight of it blooming. It just makes me so happy. And I always think we might at some point redo our side yard, but I'm like, I have to keep that rose bush somehow. And then the last thing, on one of my last classes, one of the kids, I think not all the kids knew I was retiring from teaching. This is my last year teaching. I was saying something like, oh, I'm just so happy you all were my last group. I've really enjoyed, this is my last year teaching. And one girl it came out of her mouth. She just goes, I wish you could always be my math teacher. And it just came out in this authentic way. And I'm like, great, I can retire. Like, that is what a memory I'll take with me. And I'm like, I wish I could always be your math teacher too. So
I got a little teary-eyed, just sweet, and I think I'm feeling your transition more than you are.
Yeah.
Because you are just such a good teacher, and it's coming to an end.
Yeah. I also have such an amazing person coming in to replace me who's young and vibrant, and I just feel like it's like this passing of age. I feel like I have really put my stamp on our math program and our school, and it's just time now for the next kind of generation to come through, and I just can't wait to see how she takes the curriculum and just makes it better.
I feel that. I happen to know her as well, and she is just awesome.
So I think that I might feel differently if I didn't know it was in such not only good hands, but hands that are going to move it into the future.
Right.
And keep it current. All right, so everybody, till next time,
happy crafting.
Stay curious. Bye, everybody.
Bye.